Welcome to the Coleman Conversation. I'm pleased to have Brock Blake, CEO of Lendio. Brock, thank you so much for joining me. This is going to be a fun time.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm excited to be with you, Bob.
I started this series, it's been about 6 months now. What I truly enjoy is I know almost everyone who I've talked to. I've known you for years, but we've never talked personally. I don't know much about you other than what you've done for Lendio, which is awesome. And it was nice doing some research on you. And normally I like to soft pedal and build it up, but I'm going to go right to the tough question because this jumped out at me. You went to BYU, Marriott School of Business, by the way, and you were a Division I soccer player for BYU, so that was very good. But what jumped out at me is that you were also in the Premier League, and I did a double take. I said, oh, the USFL Premier Development League, but that's still got to be a great experience. Tell us, let's start with the sports because we're going to tie that in how that made you a successful businessman.
Yeah, I was definitely not in the Premier League over in Europe. That would have been amazing. That would have been incredible.
Well, I thought, wow.
It was a semi-pro league. Soccer was amazing. For me, I grew up, I was the youngest of 6, 5 boys, 1 girl. She was the oldest. I was the youngest. So in my house, it was always my fighting for scraps, right? And we were competing in everything, no matter what it was, we were competing. And candidly, my love is actually football. But being 5'11", 165 pounds isn't that conducive to a career in football. So I was decent in soccer, and I was a goal scorer. That's all I cared about. I let everyone else play defense and do all the rest. Just give me the ball and let me kick it in the net. That was my thing. And so what was amazing about my time at BYU playing soccer was the relationships that I built with my teammates. There's so many other successful entrepreneurs that came from that program. What's interesting about BYU soccer is it's actually not D1. It's a club program, which means we didn't get scholarships. And so it instilled in me, I was going to school on a full schedule. I was playing soccer full time, which required, many hours a day in practice and training and weightlifting and everything else. I didn't come from a wealthy family. So I was working to try and, pay the bills and cover the rent and food and everything else. And so it just taught you to be scrappy. So I look back and see all of my teammates and so many successful entrepreneurs, so many successful businessmen and whatever they chose. And I think it was just because we were put through, the crucible during that time of like trying to juggle everything and yet chase this dream to play soccer.
What a great answer. By the way, I also have a career in soccer, not at your level. Unfortunately, I had zero talent, but I was on the dark side. I was a referee and a coach for many years. I was a high school referee, which I loved doing. So I'm going to ask you the tough question, Brock. You got to come clean. How many red cards did you ever get?
I got a few red cards.
Tell me one story, and then we'll get to business.
Oh man,
come on, you got to come clean.
I can't even remember a great story, but usually it's probably because I got 2 yellows. There's very rare that I got a straight red.
Oh, I don't care about the 2 yellows. I want to know about the straight red.
Those are probably for a different podcast, Bob.
All right. I'll let you. I'll let you divert.
By the way, I had a love-hate relationship with the referees. They a lot of them I built some really good relationships with during my time, and I would give them such a hard time. I was probably one of those players that you like a lot of the times and hate occasionally because I was a cocky, goal scoring.
I love those type of kids on the field because in high school you can talk to them, and I talked to them. I had a continuing dialogue.
Yes.
I let them know, don't do that, don't that. Hey, I'm watching you, don't do that. And then 2, they go up for the ball and they both fall down. They come to me and they start chirping and goes, guys, I'm an old fat guy. I'm 20 yards away. You both are dangerous. You hit your heads. First of all, I'm going to blow the whistle, make sure you're okay. But I got to make a call. And I decided you're the one. And they go, all right, that's fair. That's fair, ref.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly
if you talk to them straight and just be honest and say, I was out of position, but I got to make the call. You know what? I think that applies a lot for business. Be straight with people. Let's get into Lendio. You started Lendio in 2011, co-founder. Yep. You were a fintech lender before we could even spell fintech. Tell us about the genesis of that and what you do.
Yeah, so my co-founder and I, Trent Miskin is my co-founder. We actually started a business right out of school. We were at BYU.
Really? I didn't know that.
And we started a business initially to be able to help small businesses get equity capital, raising money from angel investors and venture capitalists. And we did like speed dating events. You know, you'd come and you'd pitch your idea and you'd go table to table and whatnot. And we learned, we kind of banged our head against the wall for 5 years trying to build this business, and it just was not going anywhere. And what we learned, though, was that every business that came, I mean, the demand for capital was so high. Every business needed capital. But the problem is that, you know, we had Main Street America. So at the time, this quote unquote problem, which actually became our opportunity. The problem was that we had Main Street America applying for to raise money from a venture capitalist, and it was a restaurant owner, and it was a landscaper, and it was like a dry cleaner, and we're like, there's no way that this venture capitalist is gonna, you know, give this business any money, but that's a really good, healthy business. They produce nice profits, it's cash flows, they could get a loan, and so on nights and weekends we started thinking, you know what? The market that we're looking to serve of small business owners is big, and it's the right market. It's the solution that we're trying to deliver them is the wrong solution. And so we started kind of dreaming up the concept of like, okay, let's switch from equity capital and move to debt financing and help these business owners get access to capital in that way. And so we shut down, you know, the previous business, and we launched Lendio in 2011, and we thought we had all the answers, and we didn't. And it really didn't actually take off till about 2014 or so. But we have this passion, this deep passion for Main Street America and getting them access to capital in an efficient way.
Good for you. Now, you type in SBA loan and you guys own the Google search words. Lendio's all over the place on that. Tell me about your funnel. Tell me, what I really want to know is your portfolio mix. Obviously, not everyone qualifies for an SBA loan. Yep. So tell me, when they come into your website and they fill out the information, walk me through that. And obviously, our audience are predominantly SBA lenders. Tell me about that portion that ends up with an SBA loan. What I really want to know is how you identify those prospects.
Yeah, so I tell you what, before the pandemic, we didn't really do much SBA or at all. And so we were mostly focused on a lot of the fintech lenders out there, the OnDecks of the world and the Fundbox and so on. And we got thrust into PPP world, of which you wrote a book, which I've got right here. So good, you know, and I'm grateful for the handwritten.
Oh, there you go. Amazon.
Thank you.
$24.95.
Right?
Ships within a week.
Yeah, put a link on the podcast.
I'll give you the referral link. Go ahead.
But you know, when we did a lot of PPP loans, and coming out of PPP, I mean, when I say a lot, we did hundreds of thousands of PPP loans for about $10 billion. And when we came out of that, we realized, hey, a lot of these banks, historically, they've been doing larger and larger loans $1 million or greater. They're not good at doing a small dollar, $25,000 or $50,000 loan. And we just believed that, but we had built all these relationships with these banks during PPP, and they were telling us, hey, well, let's leverage this PPP experience to do small dollar SBA and more conventional loans. And that's really was our kind of step into doing SBA lending, was a lot of these banks pulling us into it. So now when a business owner comes to us, the key with Lendio is that on this origination platform, we've got a breadth of loan options. So we have equipment lenders, we have SBA lenders, we have lenders that do lines of credit, term loans, everything you can imagine. So when a business owner comes to Lendio, we've created a dynamic application that basically says, okay, Bob starts filling it out and he says, I want, $100,000. And we're okay, what's it for? Okay, it's for business expansion. Okay, what's your credit score? Well, my credit score's 700. Okay, well, those three things are starting to tell me, hey, this person might qualify for an SBA loan. And for all of the lenders that is, for an equipment lender, we kind of remove them out of the category now. And some of these others, we start if it's 700 credit, a subprime lender, we're not going to, match them to that lender. And we start narrowing down the list of what type of product does this lender qualify, and then which lender, based on the lender's footprint and what the lender's credit policy and whatnot. So we work with about 100 different lenders on our platform right now. And it's about 15% to 20% of our loan volume is SBA volume.
Really? Okay, yep. Good for you.
Yeah. And by the way, that represents about 6,000 loans a month that we fund at Lendio, and about 150 million in total volume.
And if you ballpark 2025, what type of number for 7A SBA lending do you think that you ended up referring out to your partners?
Well, if this government shutdown wouldn't have, taken its toll over the last, 6 weeks, I would probably, I can go pull the numbers and I could have it.
No. I was just curious.
But we're probably 250, 300.
Okay, very good. Tell me about how you work with SBA lenders. How does that relationship look?
Yeah. So when we work with an SBA lender, we first and foremost it's all about kind of the onboarding and the implementation. And so what does that mean? They come to us and we help them document their credit policy. So some of them are national lenders, but some of them aren't. Some of them, have a geographic footprint that they want to lend into. Not every credit policy is the same. Even though, the SBSS or the SBA has certain minimum criteria, but every lender looks at loan products a little bit differently. Their debt service coverage ratio, their minimum credit score, their minimum cash flow data. So they go through a process of implementing all of these factors into our technology. Now what happens is, okay, we've got that set up. Now, as we're getting applications coming in every month from our partners, like we have partnerships with Paychecks and with Dun & Bradstreet and Heartland Payment Systems and Hartford Insurance. I mean, they're sending us thousands of applications. Now, every time a business owner meets that criteria of that SBA lender, we start gathering their package. And so item 1919, we're gathering 2 years business and personal tax returns. We're gathering 6 months of bank transaction data. We're pulling credit, and articles of incorporation, all of the things. And we run the debt service coverage ratio to make sure it meets their minimum, and we run their cash flow to make sure that it meets their minimum. Once it meets their entire criteria, then it shows up within their portal and they can review it and they can approve the offer. And then that customer gets an offer that says, okay, you just got an offer from Bankwell or Grasshopper or Cadence Bank or whoever that might be. And so we handle that entire packaging, decisioning, customer acquisition process for that bank, and we're serving up a really qualified deal on a silver platter for them to evaluate.
Thank you. Tell me a little bit about the backroom logistics. How does all that work?
Man, I would love to show you. It's
I'll take
incredible.
you up on the offer. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to show you a demo. So one of the things that we hang our hat on is underwriting with cash flow data. And what do I mean by that? I think if you're looking at tax returns serve a purpose because there's this inherent legitimacy of accurate data, right? But what if we're in November and the last tax return I had is from last year, right? Which we are. What I want to know the health of that business. And you could ask for, okay, I want interim profit and loss statement. But an interim profit and loss statement can also be a little bit manipulated and doctored, and there's fraudulent actors out there and bad actors. And so what we do is we say, I want you to connect your bank account. And if you have multiple bank accounts, do that as well. And I want you to, and we're going to go and pull the raw bank transaction data for the last 6 to 12 months. And we're going to do the calculations. So we're going to look at each category, like transaction. We're going to categorize it. And then we're going to build out a profit and loss statement. And all this happens, by the way, in like 5 seconds.
Right.
And so it'll say, and then it creates our own profit and loss statement over the last 6 to 12 months. So it'll say, we're looking for is trends. Is it going up? Is it going down? We're looking for average daily balance. We're looking for the number of NSFs. We're looking for the number of deposits. Is this a business that gets 1 deposit a month, or is it getting 100 deposits a month? Or,
right.
And then the bank can create a bunch of criteria off that. They say, I want to knock, if it has more than 3 NSFs, I mean, every bank's different, right? If it has more than 3 NSFs in the last 90 days, then that's not a business I want to lend to, right? So that's a knockout. If the average daily balance is not more than 5,000 a month or 20,000 a month, okay, that's a knockout. And so now we're matching up real-time cash flow data with tax returns and combining the two to create a debt service coverage ratio to look at the true health of that business. And so the banks, they have their portal to be able to come in and customize that, and then look at every deal and manage the deals. And the nice thing is we say to a bank, bring your credit policy, bring your capital, and maybe bring one underwriter that's their job is just to review and make sure every T's crossed and I's dotted. But we're going to do the rest. We've got a team of SBA experts. They're going to be talking to the customer. They're going to be chasing the docs. They're going to be gathering the information. And so we're kind of that full lender service provider on behalf of that lender to help them scale their loan volume.
Well, what you've described is definitely the wave of the future in terms of the data is out there. How do we access that data to accurately interpret what the cash flow, what the liquidity is of the business? So good for you. What would you say your niche is? I know, open-ended. What's your niche? What do you love to do?
Well, we think there is a segment of customers that there's a lot of really high quality small businesses that don't want to go through the hoops of SBA,
right? And
yet are higher quality than maybe some of these lenders that are offering rates that are 25, 30% or other things like that, right? And higher. And so we believe that when you look, you can underwrite them with that same type of underwriting without some of the insurance requirements that the SBA requires, and without some of the, there's some other kind of items that, the blanket lien on assets and some of the other things, where you could price it where it is, let's call it, and if an SBA is prime plus 2 to 4, where you could price it prime plus 6 to 10, and you don't have the SBA guarantee, but how they're going to perform because you have all the SBA data. And it's a 720 credit, high revenue, profitable. That's a segment that we do really well with. And so the bank treats that as a line of credit or a term loan, some sort of conventional product, non-SBA, but loan sizes up to 250. We think that is a big market that is super underserved.
Give your definition of that small loan size. Give me the parameters that you would consider a small loan, beginning in it, low end and high end.
Sub 250.
How low will you go?
Oh, terms?
No. In terms of 50,000, 10,000.
Oh, no, we'll go down. I mean, most banks don't want to do anything. They don't feel like they can make money less than 10. We do have lenders that will go down to $5,000 or whatever, but it's normally like 20 grand to 250.
Okay. In that market. Very good.
Yeah.
You've been around the SBA lending industry for a while. What's your outlook for 2026? I'm assuming, I'm going to go out on a limb, the government will open by then. If not, that's a whole different set of problems.
They better.
What do you see the SBA outlook in 2026 looking like?
Well, I believe that the leadership in the SBA, I really appreciate that they are seeking to gain industry feedback and input and guidance around what they can do, what they can change to improve their SOP. And I think I mentioned on our panel that we've worked with a group of industry experts from Heritage Bank and Colony Bank, and we've gone surveys from a bunch of different lenders out there, some of the top SBA lenders out there, and when you look at the data, I think the numbers are, I could pull this up, it's somewhere around 80 to 85% of applicants are looking, Main Street in America business owners are looking for $150,000 or less. And I mean, it is the overwhelming majority of small businesses, right? And yet you can't, the score and go product is not going to work because, to just go and pull an SBSS score and say, yeah, that loan's going to perform. We've all proven that that's not possible. So the question is, can you accomplish these three things? Can you streamline a product so it makes it easier for the small business owner without all of the SBA hoops? Can you make it so it is easier for a lender to underwrite without just a scoring goal, so leveraging more cash flow data? And can you make it so that loan performs? And that's the trifecta, right? Easy for the business owner, easy for the lender, loan performs, and the SBA is happy about it. And so we went at it. I mean, we've been at it for 6 months, gathering data, talking back and forth. What does this need to look like? And met with the SBA a few times and sent them a formalized letter on recommendations around this kind of, we think if you can do a sub 150 small dollar loan, this is what it needs to look like. Here's the guidance, the parameters. Man, it would be incredible for the market.
It's the holy grail. I agree with you. Those Kelly Lawfer, the SBA administrator, the other day said the average business only has 27 days of working capital that they can access, and that is an awfully thin margin to operate with.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the challenge.
Utah Business named you the CEO of the year. Lendio continues to grow over 50% annually. I don't know what the metric is. You're obviously doing something right. Give me, don't be humble. Oh, go ahead, be humble. But give a sense of how you operate your company to achieve those type of numbers.
Well, I mean, I would say first of all, I mean, we're really ambitious. We think it's a big market, and we have great investor partners who also believe in that, and have given us an opportunity to go build something special. Excuse me. I believe we have a team that is very, very motivated by helping Main Street America. Like this, it's small business runs in our veins. And we have a culture where, we're celebrating, every kind of time a small business owner gets a loan, that's a big win. And so when you combine that, we've got the capital, we've got an innovative technology team that's putting out some really incredible technology to do it at scale. And we've got this combined culture of people that really want to, make a difference in the world. That's a good combination.
Well, not only do you talk the talk, you walk the walk. You own what, 4 Crumbl franchises as a small business owner. Tell me about that. But what I really want to know is, how does that experience translate to running Lendio?
Yeah, I mean, we have 4 locations. We have 3 here in Utah, 1 up in Washington, and it just gives you the perspective of what it's like to be in Main Street, right?
Absolutely.
And they have those businesses, they've got their cash flow challenges, and they've got their employee difficulties, and they've got their ups and their downs, and we've looked at buying a building, and we've looked at refinancing capital, and we've got an SBA loan, and so it allows you to put the hat on the other, of the end user, of like, what's this experience like, and they make a pretty good cookie.
Hey, Brock, I appreciate you stopping by for a Coleman conversation. And our business is unfinished. I will pin you down on that red card story at some time in the future. Brock Blake, CEO of Lendio. Brock, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, Bob, thanks for having me. Appreciate all you're doing in the industry.
Thank you, man.